progress go? Hey, why am I underneath all the emails, calls, paperwork, and stuff? More stuff. Is there an end to this? I'm a prisoner of my own machine.
Sound familiar? Well, it's time to get out of all that stuff and get your life back with the VIP Coach. No hype allowed. Hosted by Executive Performance Coach John Davidson and HighLevelPerformance.com. Here's your host, JD.
Oh, I'll give you your life back. I like when we say that. Get your life back. Get your life back from all of the stuff, all the crap that's flying at you. Do you feel like you're in too many gadgets lately? You've got your laptop, you've got your cell phone, you've got all these gadgets, and it's like if we stopped the gadgets, there'd be this panic, this guilt. You know, folks, we've gotten into this idea that without the gadgets, we're not normal. Somehow advertisers some way have had us feel that we have to be connected. You know, we have to be connected to all this technology. We have to be connected to this email. We have to be connected to this cell phone. We have to be connected to this laptop computer. I heard it said the other day that what the human is doing now is called partial attention. That partial attention is becoming acceptable. You're at the dinner table and you're computing your next email on your BlackBerry. You're at the movie theater and you're answering your cell phone and you're handling a business matter. You're in the jacuzzi and you're out there and your laptop is suddenly now portable and waterproof, mind you. It can go to 150 meters. You can take it while you're scuba diving. You can go anywhere. You see, we're becoming a society of being able to access things from anywhere. While we're eating, while we're taking a pee, while we're anywhere, while we're on an airplane, we must stay connected. And I really want you to think about that, this whole idea of how we must stay connected. Who told us this? Who made it legal? Who made it rule-oriented that we have to stay connected? Who made it such right-wrong that if we're not connected, if we're not accessible, if we're not accessing this grid, this network, this information that's bestowed upon us to follow all the time, if we don't have these portals, these cell phones, these things that always get our attention, who are we? We've gotten confused. We've confused our identities in our gadgets. Is this true? Is this the who we are that we've become in the postmodern age? Are we that rushed and gushed? Is that the juice of life, that we grant all of our propriety and our identity in the machinery, in the technological suffering that we have to go through, in all of the disconnectedness that's happening? How many American families are eating dinner at night? Whatever happened to connecting with people offline? We have more online friends that we'd prefer to connect with than offline friends. We'd rather, instead of having blood and eyeballs to eyeballs, we'd rather have digital to digital. We'd rather look at words and think we've got the spirit of connecting. Hey, wait a minute here. We're not connecting. As much as we might feel that the internet is the biggest spiritual event of all time, that we're bringing the world together from all sides, hold on a second. Sure, we may be connecting with the big old world. We may be the global seer. But what about the private stuff? What about what's happening at home? What about what's happening to our bodies? What else are we neglecting? We've lost our definition of progress. Progress. I mean, having all these things, does it really mean we're such a progressive nation? Oh, America, we're so amazingly progressive, you know. What a society. What a muscle economy. Yeah, that's great. We've sold out to all the capitalism. That's terrific. We've gone ahead and gotten ambitious with all the killer instinct. We've got the drive to innovate. I believe success is about the brevity of life. It's not about the ambition. I see so many entrepreneurs. Over 10 years, I've seen hundreds of entrepreneurs say to me, JD, boy, I'm really having fun out there and being successful. Yet behind their eyes, behind all of those necessary lies, there's this feeling of being alone and isolated in this hugely complex trap. They're at a war on stuff. They are confused. They feel like they can't keep up with all of the new technology, all the things that they need to learn, and their gifts and their advantages are being commoditized as we speak. All of you that listen to this show, all of us, we're connected by one simple challenge, an anomaly that we all face if we are successful. I've talked about it on the show before. It's called the plateau of progress. It is an archetype that's characterized by you have way too much to do, you're overrun by overwhelm, and the thought of even doing more, you just don't have the energy for it. You've reached a point in your career where you say, oh my goodness, if this keeps trucking this way, I'm going to run out of gas because I have a container of life, I'm living a finite existence, and I can't keep going this way, let alone everything's moving so fast now in my midlife that I feel like, wow, all the illusions of power I had in my 20s, I can't get to it all. So I've got to reevaluate. See, I'm like everybody else. I've got a quantity of time. I've got 24 hours in a day. And right here at this point, I've got more to do than I can handle. Now I need to know my limits. Am I comfortable with my own ignorance to really say to myself, no, I will not do it all. I will not be ruled by all these things that I'm called upon to pay attention to. I don't have the capacity. I can't be aware of what's going on, analyze what I need to do tomorrow, focus on returning the email, handle that phone call all at one time. Sure, we are multitaskers, but this is burning the engine. This is crocking the engine block here. We're not made for this modern world. Remember, we were made in the Paleolithic times. We were made to graze the pastures, to eat constantly throughout the day. Maybe we had a couple saber-toothed tigers we'd have to run from over the month, and we would chase after food, and that would be our adrenaline. That was our source of fuel, but we are constant adrenaline. Adrenaline has become our main source of fuel. We are reacting and responding. There are 4 horsemen of the apocalypse on the plateau of progress. Think of it like a cancer. In cancer, there are 4 or 5 stages. If I get ovarian cancer, if I get pancreatic cancer, the doctor's going to tell me what my point A is. If point B is fully healthy, point A might be, hey, JD, you have a stage 3 or you have a stage 2. Well, I look at these 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in the same way. I'm going to take you through 4 stages so that you can see what your point A is and see how severe you've been hit around, you've been slapped around by this plateau of progress. You live in a gadget-driven world. Let's see how restrained and complex your world really is. Stage number 1, the war on complexity. Sincerely, it's the war on stuff. And stuff stands for something. It means stupid things you fire first. Stuff. Stupid things you fire first. I know what consumes your day. You've gone out in the marketplace and you've been very successful. You've gotten checks, contracts, documents. You've won the deal hundreds, even thousands of times. And you know this. You can go out there in the marketplace and you can consistently get this deal. You've become confident. Now, after all these deals, every single deal that comes in, every new one has inadvertently a new detail, a new responsibility, something else to do, something else to answer to, another thing, more stuff. Think of it like a boat. You're adding more weight to it, more weight, more weight, more weight until it submerges below the waterline. It gets heavy. And then you know what sets in? More hours. And then you know what sets in? Harder work. And then you know what sets in? You got more to do. And then you're doing so much. It's like you're on this merry-go-round. It's going so fast you just can't get off. You got so much to do. The tactician starts to take over. And this war on stuff, you know what it comes from? We live in a society right now where, like I said, we have way too much to pay attention to. Emails, phone calls, voice stuff, messages, meetings, all of these things, our cell phone, these are vampires that suck us dry of our time, and we've got to put a wooden stake in them. So the very first stage, stage 1, is you are at war with complexity. If you look back in hindsight and extract 1 week out of the last 90 days and audit your calendar, you'll find that most of what you did was probably guided by circumstances, not by choice. So whatever happened, whatever serendipitous moments came up, you were at the mercy of whatever happened to you. And this can be kind of addicting. It can be kind of cool. Hey, man, if you're busy, right, you avoid idleness. Hey, at least you're doing something to occupy yourself. You've got something to do, so you've got some utility. Stage 2. You've advanced to stage 2 when you experience the two isolations. Entrepreneurs feel very alone in two ways. There's two reasons why they feel alone. Number one, they are not able to express what they really feel and think to people around them. And there's some basis for that. One, they don't want to create any doubt with their support staff because they don't want them to think that anything's wrong, right? We want to stay positive. Keep a positive mindset. I don't want to have you know the ugly part of what's going on. You might get depressed. I don't want you to know what's going on with me. You might not think I'm this magnificent leader on the hill anymore. You might think I'm actually a flawed person. Therefore, I don't want to tell you any flaws about me because it might damage my credibility with you. I mean, can you imagine your leader having emotion? Can you imagine your leader having flaws just like you? No, I should be the untouchable leader up on the hill that is superior, is the heroic leader. Now, we may not consciously say that, but it's partly true. It's in our psyche. We don't want people to know what's going on because we might be flawed. Second, we are isolated from what people will not tell us. The entrepreneur doesn't know how they're showing up. Simply, the employees don't want to tell them because they're worried about confrontation. Your friends don't want to tell you because they're worried about you not liking them. They're too busy getting charm. They're too busy getting approval. But they don't want to tell you the truth. And you don't want to have... Of course, your spouse wouldn't tell you the truth because he or she doesn't want to bruise your ego, of course. So two people are way too busy worried about how it's affecting you and whether you'll react to it or not, that they won't tell you what's going on. So you can't gauge things. Your timing is off. You don't know that the engine block's cracking, and it's cracking right below your eyes because it's what people won't tell you that hurts you. That's what leads to the isolation. And then we go to stage 3. Now it compounds. We've got a third component. You're just confused, and you're confused in several ways. One is your identity has become work. You think life is work. That all life is just work. It's pretty much become that. That all of your identity, how you define yourself, is in work. So the whole thought of a self outside work is simply dull. It's a giant void. It's full of guilt, shame. Any time off, it's pure panic. You're anxious about it because you're out of your element. You have an office to feel like you have a business. I guarantee you don't need the office. The office doesn't make you any money. It's just a big snake pit. But you feel you have to have the office, sir, because you feel like you have to have a business. You're convincing yourself with an illusion that I have a place to go to answer my email. I have a place to go. But you know what you are? You're a giant target. You walk in there, it's like you're being in the firing range. You're just the target down the way. Bombs are getting lobbed into your office. Paperwork is landing on your desk. You're just dodging and ducking and dodging and ducking, getting into the trenches. That's what it feels like. And then you come out of the day and you go, boy, was that a day? Was that an amazing day? And then I come in, here comes Coach JD. What'd you get done? Oh, man, if you knew all the things that I got done. Really? How qualitative were they? How much of them were a function of what you really wanted to create? Oh, man, but I got so much done today. You know, I handled this report that came in. Really? Were you the best person for the job? Well, no, I have somebody else that could do it, but they couldn't do it faster than I could. So I went ahead and did it. Now, right on. So you dismantled somebody's ability to support you in the future. Well, I didn't think about it that way, but I got a lot done. So you got into the office, huh? How many hours of email did you answer? I had 200 emails. How long did it take you? A couple hours. How was that staff meeting at 10? We missed it. I had too much to do. Sounds like you got a lot done. Lunchtime. What happened? I didn't eat. How come? I had too many emails to answer. Really? So when did you eat? Well, I didn't. I just went on willpower. And finally in the afternoon, I grabbed some of the crackers that were in the kitchen. Because I had 15 voicemails I had to return. Everybody told me that I'd lose the business if I didn't call them back till the afternoon. So everything was just on the line. And then this little staff member came in, this little poker and prodder came in 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, it was the 4th time I told her how to do it. But she needed some help on some direction with a proposal. That went over an hour. 5 o'clock came up. What a day. Then I answered more email. Well, it sounds like you had a really productive day. You see, that's the typical day, is you're being run by stuff. You're confused because that has become normal. Don't you settle for that. I'm going to kick your butt. Don't you settle for that. Don't do it. How about quality time? You have an unfair advantage. Remember this. Hello. Remember, you choose the relationships that you want. You choose what to do with the time that you have. You choose your purpose in life. You choose how much money you want to create. Right? Right? You either have money-making activity or you have stuff. It's either one or the other. That's the line down the middle. Let's get clear here. See, you've gotten confused because there's so much stuff that you feel you have to upgrade, let alone, when was the last time you picked up a sales book? When was the last time you picked up a book about business development? I bet you it's been years because you're on the merry-go-round. You're confused. You're probably not using 90% of the software solutions you already have in your computer because you feel like you don't have any time to learn them. See, this is when it starts to get really hazardous, is you're confusing your identity with work, but you're there and you're doing all the stuff that brings a diminishing return. It's not leading to anything productive. So, be really honest here. Are you really getting things done? Do you really need an office? Are you really as busy as you say you are doing all the right things? And why aren't you able to prepare and optimize new skills, new capabilities, new capacities? You know why? It's not because you're busy. It's because it ain't a priority to you. That's why you're not doing it. It's because it's not important. See, you and me and Donald Trump and Bill Gates and these people that have 1,000 interruptions during the day, they all have the same quantity of time. But what you can change, and your unfair advantage, is you can change how you see the quality time. You can do what you want with the time that you have. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't come with consequences. You will strategically negate certain things. See, winning isn't doing things. It's not about never quitting. Winning is about quitting the right things. You need to quit the right things and know when to quit them. Otherwise, your stuff has got you. You don't have your stuff. Your stuff has you. See, that's where the confusion comes in. The alternative would be is being able to upgrade your capabilities and your team by learning the kind of cutting-edge technology and skills because you make it important to. But with that time is going to come consequence. But instead of doing 80% of the things that bring 20% of the results, why don't we put this in the category of the 20% of things that bring 80% of the results? So we're going to be taking a break here. I'm going to give you the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the worst, the most tragic one, the one that's like an inoperable cancer that could be so bad it's beyond repair. We'll be right back.
Congratulations. You've become a success in the business world. You've set goals and you've surpassed them. But now you ask yourself,
how can I muster the ambition and time to continue encouraging growth and still have time to enjoy life? Where did the excitement and ambition I once had go?
That's where we come in. High-level performance. Executive coaches that, simply put, in 3 years could help you triple your income, triple your fun, and triple your free time. Find out more at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. highlevelperformance.com.
After a long, hard day with the global war on terrorism, open a tall, cool Kyle Warren show. Ah, that crisp, refreshing taste, that smooth style, that effervescing attitude, and without all that other stuff that can, well, bog you down. Helping to put back what the daily media assault takes away, The Kyle Warren Show, each weekday on Talk2K.com. That's The Kyle Warren Show on Talk2K.com.
Bogged down with all the stuff? Things gotten tough with all the success? Get ready for freedom with the VIP Coach. You're listening to No Hype Allowed with Executive Coach John Davidson.
Enemy number one. The stuff war, the war on stuff, complexity. You know, interestingly, complexity is from the inside as well. Complexity isn't just in the environment. Complexity can begin in the mind. And how that happens is that you don't have an orderliness to your thinking. Complexity can happen when all the ideas begin to run rampant in your mind. And I think I need to make mention of that inner piece, that inner part of it. And what I mean by that is that if you clarified via a hierarchy what is most important to you, that's where it would begin. Not everything can be most important to you. You must establish a hierarchy, and the hierarchy of importance equals simplicity. As you begin to say, this is a priority, this is not, this isn't, this is why, you begin to decisively say, this has a sense of urgency, and this does not. The tragedy is when things determine their own sense of urgency, and you don't. And especially when those things are not important, and they pop up, and they create their own sense of urgency, you begin to feel a sense of neglect or regret that you could be doing something better. And this is where the real frustration sets in stage 1. We're now at stage 4. The fourth horseman of the apocalypse, the worst of all, the biggest tragedy of all three combined, is the commoditization trap. Commoditization is happening everywhere we look. Value destruction is on its way. It is inevitable. Certain jobs are getting wiped out. Industries are getting wiped out. Certain components in industries, capabilities, models, certain mechanisms in certain industries, in financial services, in the medical industry, legal industry, a lot of things are going to what I call an ordering mechanism. They're going to the internet. You can order a divorce on the internet. There are aspects of financial planning you can buy. All services are either bought or sold. When things become commoditized, they are bought. When they are bought on often the least price. So what we have to go at war on here is how we can offset that by creating value. What a salesperson can do, if he is advising well, is to position his product or his consultancy so that value is stronger than price. Because at the end game, that buyer is going to be making comparisons. So the consumer is shifting these days. And there are several reasons why the consumer is shifting. Let me tell you a little bit about that and what intensifies this commoditization trap. Asia, abundance, and automation. First of all, Asia, and I'm talking about India. India will be the #1 English-speaking planet, it's predicted, in the world by 2010. They're going to hit 1 billion in population. This is really significant because the working class, the middle class in India, earns about $15,000 a year. And with this level of English and this level of income compared to our middle class, which is $65,000 a year, it makes perfect sense how underrated India is going to be in the long term. We're going to be seeing a dramatic shift, in my eyes, from middle class workers. Their jobs are going to be going off to India because they can be done much more cheaply. Even in the professional sectors, there are a lot of aspects of our jobs. Whatever can be automated can be done by someone that we could pay less. It's the vocational death sentence. I'm talking about, metaphorically speaking, anything that your left brain can do. Reports, logic, analysis, anything that is automated, it can be done by somebody else. So what are we left with? Anything in the right brain. Visionary thinking, any tasks that are aesthetic, that creative side of the entrepreneur. So there's a real awakening that's calling upon the entrepreneur again, because the sustainability is really in the significance, not in the utility. We figured out how to make the fly swatter, but somebody is going to make a fly swatter so significant they're going to be the product of choice. It's the same thing with the service industry. You and your wisdom, I believe, are the most significant qualities that you can offer. It's the most matchless, remarkable quality that you have. Your personal gifts, the superior skills that you have a passion for, are unmatched. It makes you authentic. It is your brand DNA. How much of it are you focusing on? Do you really see the vitalness? Do you see the essential component I'm talking about here? Because you're going to die a slow death if you start to automate. If everything you're doing is automatable, goodbye. It's going to be offshored or outsourced or overseas in a short term. Be careful here. We also live in a world of abundance. There are way too many options consumers feel they have, and they feel they have less time to choose from them. So it used to be a luxury when Grandma and Grandpa had a car. Now we have an average of 2 cars on the road for every person. We have an average of 2 computers in the house for every household. We have an average of 2 cell phones. What used to be a luxury has become normal. Why is the self-storage industry a $17 billion industry? It surpassed the entertainment business, folks. We have bigger houses than we ever did, but we have fewer people living in them. We don't know what to do with all the stuff. And part of that is that we were looking for a quick hit. We go out and we find more stuff, and we just keep shopping, and we think we need more, and we think we need more, and we think we need more. And then suddenly you go overseas to a third world country, and you realize that there's so much you really don't need to be happy. If you go to Spain, or if you go to France, or you go to Mexico, or you go to Africa, you'll soon realize how many non-essentials we think we need essentially, when we really realize that there are so many other aspects that instead of working on these non-essentials, we really should focus more on what is essential to our happiness. And we'd probably find that most of those things that are essential to our happiness are not expensive. They're not expensive things. Let me give you an example. If you imagined you made half of what you earned annually, just imagine that. Imagine you made half of what you earned annually. What would be the 5 things that you would be absolutely unhappy to lose? You would be absolutely unhappy without. I've asked people to make budgets all the time in my coaching encounters. No one makes them. And if they do make them, no one follows them. You know why? Because it's not a budget problem. It's a values problem. See, too many things are way too important to them, so they're not going to cut the spending because, yeah, you bet, it's still essential to them. But when they start to reevaluate, you know what? What's really important to me, what really matters, and what doesn't matter to me, that's when we'll see a prognosis for change. Then we realize the difference between a big home and the hours that you have to be working at work. The bigger I buy, the more work I'm going to have to do, or the more creative or innovative I'm going to have to be. But as we start to really think about what's important, maybe we change our environment. We go live out in the country somewhere. We lower our expenses to create an ease in life. Somewhere in us, our ambition is in conflict with our personal values. And we have to redefine progress looking at the brevity of life. If I'm on a train and all I'm doing is addicting myself to the final station, to the final end, well, I'm not looking out the window enjoying all the stations leading up to it. What am I missing out? Because the journey is the reward. It's not so much the end. The end is great, but what it gets me to do in the present. And make no mistake about it, isn't it ironic that the present also means gift? When I receive a present, I'm receiving a gift. The present synonymously can be a great gift, depending on how we look at it. To really look at your perspective here, what's leading to commoditization is the consumerism paradigm. That we've gotten into us these needs that we probably were latent about. We didn't know we needed them. We didn't know we needed a Palm Pilot. We didn't know we needed the computer. We didn't know we needed the car that had the GPS. We didn't know. But we were taught to know. We were taught to think it was essential. But we can take it back. You can do that deliberately. Evaluate what really matters to you. And then look at all the things in your life that are not relevant. And let's begin making some cuts. Because you got too much. Your closet is too full. You can't make space for anything new. You got to purge. You got to clean your closet to make space, folks. I agree. You should have all the pure frills. You can have it all. You can have the limo ride to the airport. You can have the island getaway. You can have the Ferrari with the 18-hole golf course with the mansion in the Hawaiian Islands. I agree with you. I'm not saying not to want what you want. But let's be clear. There probably are things that really aren't essential or don't matter as much. And if you really got down to those essentials, I would imagine once you take delivery of them, the rest of them will begin to wean off. They just start working themselves out because they're not important anymore. Old roles that you have, tasks that you're responsible for, material objects, heirlooms, hand-me-downs. Look at your garage. It's a product of not making fast decisions. Why do you hold on to stuff? Because maybe you haven't really thought about if it would hurt you if you threw it away. Would it really hurt you if you threw it away? Is it absolutely essential to your happiness? Maybe you have 2 or 3 of them. Maybe you have another friend in town that can utilize those things better. And they're just sitting around. So you got all this stuff going on here. We live in a consumerism society. And so because this is happening, how does it affect you as an entrepreneur? It really affects you. Why? Because consumers want it fast. They don't have any patience. They don't want to wait in line. They have way too many options. They don't have the time for it anymore. They don't put up with anything less than best in the world. If you choose a doctor, do you want that doctor operating on your navel that's any less than best in the world? Your goal could be, one of those goals, I don't mean to impose it on you, but you could consider making a priority out of being the best in the world at something. And that could be your single smoking gun, your buckshot. That could be it, your bullseye. What is it? Start asking around. Get people's opinions. Start finding out what that one faculty is. Like Curly said in City Slickers, it's the one thing. I'm going to end our show today with a definition that I think is the road to getting out of these 4 stages. And hopefully through these 4 stages, you've been able to self-select yourself for getting some help. Maybe you see that by virtue of seeing these 4 stages, you've become one of many entrepreneurs that despite all your motivation and all your talents, you still are potentially failing. I know that's hard to hear, but really go back and redefine your success. Are you really bringing into being the things that really matter to you? That's my definition of success, is bringing things into being that really matter enough to see them exist. And being on purpose, which means oriented with a place to go, feeling like you're in your right place, your right livelihood, means focusing your gifts toward your interests. It really is about your intention in combination with your attention. Your attention on your gifts and what you can offer the world, giving all that you are to all that you want. And if you got a lot of all that you want, if your intrinsic desire you're true to, then all that you are and all that you have and all that you can bring will be that much better. You put passion to create something in the same room for enthusiasm for doing something towards it. When you have that kind of present enthusiasm toward an intention and an aim that you really, really, really want, that's a recipe for extraordinary performance. The first step is a fundamental choice. I'm going to ask you to make one right now this minute, that you will choose to be the predominant creative force in your life and nothing else. You will choose to be that. You will choose the relationships that you want, and you won't put up with any more duds. You're disgusted with them. You're going to get rid of them. Fire them. Because they're taking up space in the closet. They're blocking the next one. It could be that much better. Number 2 is you will take advantage of the opportunity that you have. You have the freedom of unlimited income. You are an entrepreneur. You are taking delivery of a dream. Number 3 is that you will reevaluate your freedom with your time, because time management doesn't exist, priority management does, and you can manage the energy that you have and the time that you have. So taking advantage of that, take back the choice. And lastly, you choose the purpose that you want in life. You get to define yourself. You get to define why you are doing what you're doing. So I ask you to reevaluate. Turn your eyes around. Take a day off. Go to the beach. Go to the desert. Go to the mountains. And really rethink your life. It'll be the best day you'll have. You'll always remember it when you look back. Have a great week. Really enjoyed the show. If you want more information about our world-class VIP coach program, please go to nohypeallowed.com. You can see this podcast online, and you can visit our VIP coaching website at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. Once again, highlevelperformance.com. Have a productive week.
Overwhelmed? Can't get to anything you planned?
Has the thrill ride of too much gotten ahead of you?
Get back that confidence with the VIP coach. No hype allowed.